The Night House is directed by David Bruckner and stars Rebecca Hall, Stacey Martin, among others. And in this story, it deals with a woman named Beth, who's played by Rebecca Hall, who ends up basically getting left as a widow after her husband dies, and she uncovers a dark secret while she's living at this lake house that her and her husband have been living at for a long time. And as the story progresses, it becomes basically a psychological horror type of film where if whether or not certain things are either real or not real. And I'll leave it there because I won't give any spoilers. Now here's a little backstory. Now this film was directed by David Bruckner, who I'm not really too familiar with, but I know that he's directed a couple of films I've been meaning to check out, including The Ritual from a few years ago, and there was another one from I think 2006 or 7 called The Signal. And then he also directed a segment on VHS. So there's been other movies that he's directed I haven't really seen, but I'm anxious to check out in the future. And what got me interested in the trailers for this was this whole psychological take of basically Rebecca Hall, like, going through grief and everything, and it's really like questionable, like whether she's like seeing things that are very or if they're actually real or if it's all in her head. And what really got me interested with the way that basically it does this whole thing where, from a filmmaking standpoint, it's like things are mirrored, so to speak. And how that kind of plays in a big theme with this, of how pretty much it deals with all about dealing with the themes of her guilt and her trying to remorse of all the things that happened when she was with her husband and everything, and basically we as the audience are trying to piece together the things that are going on. And so after upon seeing the film, I can honestly say that this movie was really freaking good. I really enjoyed this a lot. It's definitely probably one of the best movies I've seen all year. To get my pros out of the way, I'll say that Rebecca Hall really carries this movie the most. I thought that she was phenomenal. In fact, I think this is probably one of my favorite, might probably be my favorite performance of hers. The way that she's dealing with grief and a lot of the way that she has to piece together everything that's going on with what happened to her husband, and a lot of the slow, deconstructing of her as the movie goes along. It just really pieces together a lot of things that you're very, you're with her through the whole way through. And the other thing I got to really appreciate the most is the atmosphere alone, especially if it takes place at the lake house. It puts you in that very claustrophobic type of feel, and I enjoy when movies that are taking place in a more isolated area really do this, especially movies like the Lighthouse from a couple years ago, and also last year when we had The Lodge. And it really puts you in that kind of perspective of whether or not the character is either going through cabin fever or if it's something that's actually real and it's building up to something like that. And so I won't spoil anything, but let's just say that there are some interesting twists and turns this movie does too that really got me. And the way that the story unfolds with how we get to know more about what happened with her husband, it goes into some dark territory that really had me on the edge of my seat. And from a filmmaking perspective, I got to really appreciate the way that there's a lot of timed suspenseful moments that I didn't really see coming that really got me in a good typical jump scare kind of fashion, in the right way, where when you hear a loud noise that happens, it comes out of nowhere, but it's timed right to where it really gets you. And then there's also some very interesting imagery that the director uses that really kind of throws you off, or it may seem like it's foreshadowing something that's later, or it may basically do a 180 on you. Not going to go into detail, but let's just say that there's a silhouette of something it's like in the wall or something, and the way that it's filmed, it makes it really stick out really good. And I really appreciated the way that the movie, tackles all of its build up to where it was going with how we find out what happened to her husband. And just a lot of the very calm moments too, and a lot of the scenes where Rebecca Hall is just feeling remorseful, and she's also very, she brings a lot of nuance to the character, where she does go through scenes where she's lashing out, but then other scenes you'll see her drunk with her friends and stuff, where she's basically going along with things, and she kind of downplays certain scenes that I could really buy the way that this character would go through with going through so much like this. And I really couldn't get enough of the movie, the way it played out, and it had on a great momentum that really build off a really great ending, in my opinion, that I didn't really see. That was building up really good, and it does something a little that I didn't really expect them to do that I thought was pretty cool. Now the way, because that's what this basically. Now I'm not going to spoil anything, but let's just say that when it gets to the ending, it does something that it builds up, and it leads to a direction that is unpredictable. I'll leave it at there, so to speak. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I didn't really have hardly any flaws with this movie, and there's some debate with the ending with how it could have paid off. But you know what? The way that it kind of went with, I will say that it really resolved it in a way that I really bought with the way it worked. And I'm not going to spoil anything with the ending, but I will say it worked with the context of the film that I thought really held it together. So with that being said, with this being one of the best films of the year for me, I'm going to give this movie a phenomenal grade on the Film Priest meter. So for those of you who've also seen The Night House, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. And thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in my next review. I'll see you later.